Well, hi boys and girls, thank you for stopping by, good to have you here. Just wanted to give you a quick update here on some things that are going on in Sweden right now. I have an article here from Samhällsnytt, Society New, I guess, or news from society. A good alternative option to all the mainstream garbage in Sweden. One of many, kind of outcompete really many of the mainstream shit papers in Sweden. The headline says the Swedish government wants to ban rune scripture. Rune alphabet, the rune symbols. That's right, the runic alphabet, the symbols, the rune scripture that we used, that our ancestors used. They want to ban this. There is some outrage about this, thankfully, but not as nearly as much as it should be, considering the gravity of the attack on our history and on our heritage. The insanity has certainly reached a new level, which I maybe not thought was impossible, but I thought it would take maybe a little bit more for them to get there. But anyway, the day has come, right? So this is what the article says. The Swedish government is currently investigating the possibility of banning the use of Nordic rune scripture. According to details, it's the Minister of Justice, Morgan Johansson, a social democrat, that is behind this initiative. Now, there are many organizations, the ASA, OSA Samfundet, the ASA Association, I guess, but other individuals, such as myself and many others that have, of course, reacted with incredible resentment against the government officials that are initiating something like this. And, of course, many have already argued that this is, if nothing else, a limitation, a restriction on the use of religious symbols. As you guys know, there has been no ban of, let's say, the communist hammer and sickle, or the ISIS flag, or the Star of David, or the crescent moon and star, or anything like that, despite the fact that these religions and organizations and ideologies are behind far more hate and murder than the Asatru community ever has been. So this Friday, there is a gathering of a lot of people in Stockholm, outside some of the government buildings, to protest this possible decision. So the background to this investigation, the reasoning for it, why they want to do this, is because the Nordic resistance movement is using the Thor rune as their symbol of their organization. And of course there's a lot of cucked and kind of, semi-dedicated Asatru organizations that have a problem with that. It doesn't matter who's using it, it's their right to use these symbols. They belong to all of us of Nordic or Northern European descent, and basically that should not be an issue. But due to this fact, due to the fact that there has been pressure on this group recently to be banned by none other than the Jewish World, or is it the World Jewish Congress, the WJC I think it is, they released a video actually recently, which we covered in one of our shows, where we showed and talked about the fact that the Nordic resistance movement had largely debunked the video. It was lie after lie after lie. But regardless, in other words, there's pressure right now to ban the Nordic resistance movement. And due to this, they're also going after the symbols, not only that they use, but many other people and organizations and religions use as well, where there's the one religion, but as usual, there's different interpretations of that religion or how it is to be practiced. Nothing new there. But it is noteworthy that we're talking about an entire scripture, an entire alphabet, an entire way of writing. Not only, of course, an attack on heritage and culture, but it's an attack on even, what do we call, linguistics or language. That, if the wrong people use a certain alphabet, we have to ban the whole alphabet, right? So we do have a foundational law in Sweden that is kind of a convention that is supposed to protect freedom of religion, which we in this case can see that it clearly doesn't. The group that you openly and legally can discriminate against, as you guys know, I hope you know, is people of European descent, white people. And here is one of our religions, one of our common shared cultures and heritage that are being openly attacked and investigated by the Swedish government. Now, the ASA, the OSA Samfundet, had released a few statements about this, which the article raises. And, their take on this, as far as I know, is apparently that they're upset that the Nordic resistance movement is using this, which is like well, whatever, whoop-de-doo, they're using it. They have the right, as I said, as anybody else, to use it, and it's irrelevant. Why are there certain symbols banned and others are not? They have been trying to demoralize the people who are using these symbols and the alphabet and the individual letters due to what they stand for, and which some people have kind of attributed a special kind of power or even magic, if you will. And this is not uncommon, of course, within many religions to believe that both symbols and artifacts actually hold a deeper meaning which can be of value to us for different reasons. So this statement from the ASA was basically like, well, the government does the same mistake as these other organizations does that they don't like by kind of misinterpreting it or using it in the wrong context or, you know, whatever. And their point was basically that you combat, you know, largely false interpretation or misinformation with correct information, and that's the way to go about it. But we know that there's a bigger battle at stake here. Now, regardless of the interpretation of these symbols and these alphabets, it's true that they are roping up hundreds and hundreds, possibly thousands and thousands of years of culture and heritage into all this due to the fact that they consider to be the wrong modern you know, correlation or connection to group which they see as a political enemy. We know that the ADL as well for some time have had these symbols, letters from our Nordic alphabet as hate symbols on their website. And the absurdity of this, of course, goes way beyond any reason whatsoever. And it shows that they truly hate the people that they have declared to be their enemies. Us in this case, people of Northern European descent, and also the people that have decided outside of that group to use them as a way to anchor either themselves or others to a cultural point in history and show that we have roots and heritage too, and that we are native as well. We belong to something. They attack and reinvent history all the time. It's like this term Judeo-Christian you know, heritage or values or morality, whatever they say. No such thing exists. This is a term that's invented recently. I think it's like 80s or 90s, possibly 70s. What we do have, whether you like it or not, is that we have a pagan Christian heritage as Europeans. And it's important that all of you, no matter what religion you belong to, stand up for your common and shared heritage. Just like we do with Christianity, and when Christian symbols are attacked, when Christians are demonized by the establishment in the mainstream press, we're right there with you guys and help to protect us against these globalists and stand up with us as they're trying to rip these from under our feet and say that it's wrong, or in this case it's a hate crime to use them. It's a criminal act that when I grab on and hold on to something which is anchored in my heritage and my religion, I am somehow expressing hatred towards someone else. This is the charge largely against them. It's called, the Swedish term is called hets mot folkgrupp, which is essentially persecution of a different group of people or folk or whatever you want to call it. Which is pretty interesting, considering that then me using something, in other words, taking a positive position to something which belongs to us exclusively, is now considered to be an attack on other, or they want to make that kind of association, right? So my use of it or our use of that is somehow seen as a charge against other people who, in this, let's be honest, in this case, are foreigners and temporary guests in our countries, right? We have to accommodate them again, and this is largely on par with you know, what the Taliban did in Afghanistan or something like that when they blow up, you know, the Buddhas. Never stops with these people, never going to be enough. They will kick over rune stones, they will blow up burial mounds, they will take old cultural heritage sites and treasures and melt them down, which they've already done. Articles have been coming out about this. They will destroy rock carvings next. I mean, I don't know where this ends. Effectively, anything we do will be seen as hate. Our very presence will be seen as hatred, and of course an origin point, a root of our heritage, of our shared heritage, will be chopped down effectively. They will attack the roots to destroy it. So what else happened? ISIS blew up, well, they toppled, you know, a lot of these statues in most of the Middle Eastern and North African countries where they controlled. Babylonian, old, you know, kind of pagan ancient Indo-European, Indo-Aryan symbols. We know that the swastika has been banned in many countries, an ancient old Indo-European or Indo-Aryan symbol, a sun symbol. And so, nothing is going to be enough for these people. They will go for everything. And they're trying that as we speak, as of right now. And obviously, I think it's actually an overreach, which actually demonstrates the very points that we try to get across, that there is a attack on our shared heritage and culture. And this certainly proves it when the government comes in and tries to ban a nation's and a country's ancient form of writing. Imagine something similar happening in Egypt, where they would ban hieroglyphs, or let's say in Babylonia, where they would ban cuneiform or something like that. That's what this is on par with. It's an attack on our cultural heritage, and they've already, as I said, tried with this demoralizing. And when that didn't work, when despite all of this, more and more people, partially, sadly in a way, but reality is what it is, with shows like Vikings and even Game of Thrones, actually, to a certain extent, there has been a reawakened, reinvigorated energy, if you will, behind trying to find these cultural roots and an interest in that, which is what it is, and I think that's good. When the demoralizing hasn't worked, when the name calling didn't work as they expect, then they go to the next level, which is, of course, to position uneducated foreigners on the heritage board. For example, in Sweden, we covered this in a lengthy video about the individual that they placed there, who knew nothing about, not even his own history, but nothing about Swedish history. Then they tried this stunt with the Muslim Viking. Remember that, this embroidery thing that that supposedly said Allah on it, and they tried to prove that there was an ancient link, that Vikings were worshipping Allah, and it was like a oh great, Muslims are Vikings kind of deal. So what does this issue has to do with nationalism and populism? We might just let all these people in. We worship the same God kind of thing. But that was exposed, and we helped to expose that as a fraud, as a politically motivated fraud from the University of Uppsala, and especially the woman behind it. But a lot of scholars spoke out after this and said that it was totally wrong. And so that was exposed. And so now it's like we're entering the last phase on this attack, which is basically to ban people from using these symbols. Now the question is, what would happen then if I continue to wear my Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, in Sweden? Arrested for hate crime, for this, for persecution of a different group of people, a different race, I would assume. That's the translation of it. If I have letters on the back of my t-shirt, like we do with these Red Ice t-shirts, that will be a crime that they are going to convict, I would assume, by either prison time or maybe daily fines. Essentially have to pay money because we choose to stand up for our heritage and want to hang on to it and not have it destroyed. So there is a demonstration against this coming up in Sweden, in Stockholm, Slottsbacken, on May 24th between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock. I encourage all people, all organizations to go there and protest against this potential law, or however they will actually put this down and however they will enforce this. Already about 6,000 people have signed a petition. I would assume it's more by the time that this video is out. I'll add links to this down below so that you can take part. And even though you personally might not like the organization behind it, I encourage you and your organization, however big, however small, to take part in this and show your presence, depending on what happens next, right? Hopefully, of course, the investigation is dropped and these people investigating would say, well, this is ridiculous. It's totally nonsensical. Just because someone had used something which you don't like or you consider to be a political enemy, we can't collectively demonize, and we also don't have the right to encroach on this religious freedom. Do you think Sweden would ever ban the burqa or the niqab? No, of course not. But that's effectively what they're doing. But it's even worse than that, because it would be like let's say Swedes, there's a war in Sweden, we start emigrating to Middle Eastern countries, and then we come down there and they start banning Muslim symbols and older ancient symbols, some cuneiform or something like that, hieroglyphs or something, just because they see that that's an attack on us when we are coming in being guests and temporary visitors, essentially, in their countries. So what else, guys? Well, this is, of course, why people lined up to go protest the destruction or the demolition, the taking down, the dismantling of statues in the southern U.S., because it comes from the same point of view, essentially. They will go for our ancestors. They will go for what they did and what they achieved. It's remarkable that it is Swedes behind it. Now, I think that there is pressure groups, as I said before, from the possibly the ADL, the World Jewish Congress, that released information recently, videos about this, kind of helps. They started a petition to get people to sign a petition to get the Swedish government to ban the Nordic resistance movement, and this is a further extension to that. But destruction is all they know. History and our heritage and our culture and us as a people is on the chopping block here. I want to encourage everyone out there to support your Christian brothers and sisters when they are attacked, when their symbols are attacked, when they are torn down or demoralized, both in the media and in the press and by the establishment. And do the same for your pagan brothers and sisters. That time for bickering is over. They will go, either we alone will fall, or they'll take us off one by one, essentially. Hang alone and be plucked, or hang together, support each other. The fact is, Europeans is an incredibly diverse group, probably one of the most diverse ones that we have, especially in our appearances, but even in our philosophies and in our religions, in our politics, right? That's the one big lie. Diversity is actually one thing we don't need as Europeans. So who's doing this? Let's just talk about him a little bit. Morgan Johansson, he is a Swedish politician from the Social Democrats, as I mentioned before. He has served as Minister for Home Affairs since 2017 and as a Minister for Justice. Minister for Justice since 2014. That means he's still the Minister for Justice. This is the justice we're getting as native Swedes in our own country. Unbelievable. And of course, here's the kicker, right? He served as the Minister for Migration and Asylum Policy from 2014 to 2017, right? So he would be well versed in the political opposition, shall we say, that stands in his way for him to get his agenda through. Now, in 2010, there was an author, Christer Isaksson, that described Johansson as a member of the left-leaning faction of the Social Democrats. So, if the Social Democrats weren't left-leaning enough for you, here you have a faction within the party, which is radical far left. It's ultra-globalist, in fact, or international in its stance. And so he's part of this faction inside of the party. He's also a member of the Swedish Humanist Association. This is what humanists do these days. They ban people's religions, native people, inside of a country which belongs to those people, pushing for the ban of their religious symbols and their alphabets. Will they ban the ISIS flag? Will they ban the Star of David, the crescent moon, any of these symbols? I mean, the hammer and the sickle. We're talking about ideologies that has tens of millions of lives on their hands. I mean, the most industrialized mass murder in human history still does not have its symbols banned in countries that are trying to ban symbols by peaceful people and religions that anchors them to a common shared heritage and a past. Now, I don't think any symbol should be banned, to be honest. I think it's overkill. It's better to just have it all out in the open. So last point, guys, where will this end if we don't stand up? What's next? And if they do decide to put this into law, right now we're looking at a situation where I do believe a lot of people are going to have to go to prison. Imprisoned by the state, by the humanitarian superpower Sweden, for wearing a symbol, a letter from an ancient alphabet that is being reawakened in the mass mind of the Nordic people, thankfully. And maybe this is a good thing. I think I do view this ultimately as a positive development, frankly. It's overreach, it's total insanity, but the fact is that it's positive at the end of the day, because this will demonstrate and show people what the real agenda is and who's behind this. And yes, you have Swedish names at the forefront, but I think that's not the only ones that are behind this. There's international pressure now to do this. They want us gone. And the fact is that if our people start going to prison, to jail, I ultimately think that will show just how terrified they are of the individuals that are using this, and the power as well of these things to unite the people against these globalists, these master overlords, these authoritarians that have put themselves in this position of ruling over us, of deciding what part of our heritage and our culture that we can or that we can't associate with effectively, what religion we can be part of. It will show all the non-dedicated people out there just how fanatical and extreme these individuals are. And when they lock mothers up, when they lock teenagers up for showing or displaying these symbols, or the Thor's hammer, the Mjölnir, or the Valknut, or the Vägvisare, for example, when they are trying to do that, then people will understand just how fanatical they are. And I think they also will understand that they are not going to stop. These people are not going to seize and end with this, because then we're going to go to another symbol which we identify with. Gustav Vasa, a ship, a rock carving which we have on the shirts, anything, something which anchors us to our culture and heritage, they will ban it. This is why they call this internationalist plot, the creation of a new man, because it means the total destruction of our heritage, for them to be able to build us up from the ground up, a totally controlled and subjugated human being, an individual which has no roots, is going to be the most easiest individual in the world to control. And that's why they do it, and that's why they fear it. They fear nationalism, populism on the rise in Europe, people being anti-globalists, speaking up against all the things that's happening, the displacement, the replacement. They are going to ban concepts, they're going to ban ideologies, they're going to go after people and put them in jail and in prison for what they believe. But ultimately our people will have to wake up. They have to realize that these maniacs in power, they want us gone, and there's nothing that's off limits to them. The nationalists, the populists, anyone that they've considered to be a political enemy, they are going to try to ban them. They're going to try to take away everything that empowers them, the things that unite them against these maniac globalists. And ultimately I think this will be the beginning of a wake-up call for the Swedish people. But there certainly are many other things that they're going to go for. And again, if we jump to something else, it will be that next. It will be symbols from the 15th century, then will be the 16th century, 17th, 18th, 19th, and no symbols. It will be, nothing left. Alright guys, thank you for watching. redicemembers.com, check it out. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back soon with more videos and more shows. Take care.
Everyone's been asking, and it's finally back in stock. Red Ice merch is available in a variety of colors, prints, long sleeve and short sleeve for men, women, and children, including the Anglo-Saxon boar, Norse solar boat, They Have to Go Back, Red Ice Eclipse, and something special for the little berserker or shield maiden in your family. All items were made with 100% organic cotton sewn in the USA. Organic cotton means cotton grown without the use of toxic pesticides and fertilizers. So add something new and comfy to your closet while also supporting Red Ice. Head over to redice.tv/store or lanaslama.com and click on the Red Ice banner. We appreciate all your support.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a time when virtually all social media is controlled by what seems like a single hidden hand, with certain people and alternative media outlets getting banned from multiple platforms at the same time, we need a way to bypass them and their control. Telegram. Join our Telegram group. Go to t.me/ Red Ice TV and download the free speech app, the Pro Free Speech app, that have refused to hand over their encryption keys to governments that have requested them. This is an app that allows us to communicate directly with you. It's available both for your phone and desktop computer. So join the Red Ice TV Telegram group right now for announcements and updates, news and alerts when we have new content up. The app even allows us to upload content straight to it should our YouTube channel and other social media accounts be taken down. So join our Telegram group and allow us to have an unfiltered, uncensored line of communication with you. Join our Telegram group, go to t.me/RedIceTV and download the free speech app. Telegram,